What's the science? What's the science?
What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science?
Lord, you done chopped on a natural soul. That chicken when I come grab every microphone. It's science time down when I have to rip it off. My biology, my chemistry is kind of off. Grab your books and burn them while you learn and teach a lesson. Who could be the teacher? The professor be the coach. When I spoke and be the next smoke, yo, and I'm no joke. Here I come again. Watch me choke. Another MC, lynch by the neck, hanging from a tree. When I see them all swing this, it be some Billie Holiday, straight fruit, not taboo. Hey, can't stand that, cause I did get all my roots. Like the roots from the vine, the vine being tied. See, when I spot it with my glasses I teach. When I come, I gotta reach dark spots. When I come and cause lots of knots. I pop the weed, still, when I see them, still, standing still at a stand. Still, they all still, I see you scream, I scream. What's the science? When I'm having bad dreams. What's the science? 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 What's the science?
It's the science.
The devil's triangle when I get loose, losing them. In my hyperenemies, they can't find me. Behind me is a cancer carcinogen. You'll find me in the depths of a mental thought as I'm caught into my intellect. Yo, I'm never coming short. That's the way I do. I blow up a lung, I'm unsung, falling off the top rung. I'm getting flatter. I got the ill matter, the scientific crack and Joe. It don't matter. I'm like E equals MC squared. Yo, I wanna hear from the Pythagorean theorem and grind them in. That's like 3 equals 0.14. I mean the other word for pi. I and I'm into more scientific atomic vision, musical precision. I'm like Dr. Giggles, making an incision, using my intuition with precision. Yo, I make you cough it up. And yo, I'm never doing when I get all lost up. I'm lost in space, I'm like an aurora borealis. I'm like the 4th of July on Ellis Island, wildin' my chakra. I tap into my chakra like a yogi. I come up to some next type of science, like chemistry. I'm no limit to me, a nemesis I be. It's sub-zero nemesis, it's pure form, the science. What's the scientific form?
What's the science?
What's the science?
What's the science?
What's the science?
What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science? What's the science?
What's the science? What's the science?
What's the science?
Well, shall we?
What's the
Shall we?
What's the
Well,
science?
shall we?
What's the science?
Well, shall we?
What's the science?
Shall we? Yeah, it's the science. 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 It's the science.
What's the science?
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 What's the science? Yeah. What's the science?
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 What's the science? The science.
What's the science?
What's the science?
What's the science? What's the science?
What's the science? What's the science? Yeah.
What's the science? 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 What's the science?
What's the science?
What's the science? It's like quick pro when I go. Some cayenne beans, pass a liver, please. If I gotta eat them up just like Hannibal Lecter. I see you standing over there, Hector, I lecture. President of the Science was Society. When I get into my physiology, my mind break up when you wake up. When I shake them up, just like the quake checking when the MC. I break like a bee when I see them all defeated. When they fall like fetuses out of wombs. When I come consumed like the fire off a hole. When it's blacking on the Afrocentric rubber won't never stop. Flow, I can flow on too thoroughly like Kane. When I seen natural. Kinda stifling type style when I get buck wild. You can't sing my style. I get stylish when I come and get the penis rhymes. When I rip them, coming from my lungs and I sprung a leak in my diaphragm. You can't even diagram this, make a map when I come and take this. So where's your treasure? You got enough pleasure. I'm rocking yo any kind of measure. Four score, four more. When I step into you, what's the science? You can't even relate. What's the science? 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 What's the science?
What's the science?